Do we need to wait till the end of the year to kind of see things kind of play out with the war and what's happening, and then the price goes up? I saw Brad Garlinghouse said that this 2026 is going to be a really good year.
There's been a lot of different people at Ripple that have come out and said different things in the near
Monica
term
Long.
that I've never heard them say before.
Yes.
At XRP Community Day, Monica Long said that she was asked, if you could give a phrase or a few words around where you see XRP and the XRPL in 2026. She said full-scale institutional adoption.
And what does that mean then for the price?
It'd have to be a very high price in order to be able to facilitate those capital flows and settle markets at scale. So if she had said institutional adoption and left out at scale, maybe it could be less. But when you say at scale, that means it has to be a very high price.
The high prices, she was hinting, $100 plus XRP or $1,000 XRP or 10,000 or million.
I don't think you could facilitate the capital flows for the back end settlement of the DTCC and the FX market and commodities or SWIFT, whatever exposure it gets there. They just ran a trial in Japan, and Japanese banks, showed that using Ripple and XRP was 60% cheaper than settling on the SWIFT network.
That's right.
So, they're going to have to compete. And if they don't want to lose market share, they're going to have to use the same infrastructure. I don't know if they're going to partner with R3 to be able to facilitate that. Same thing with DTCC. That's where I think they're going to go is R3 partnership to be able to facilitate capital flows and settle in XRP. But all that being said, yeah, I think that it's going to have to be a higher price. And we've got, a lot of things culminating here in Q2 and Q3. I mean, the math doesn't math otherwise. You can't facilitate the back end settlement of $600 trillion
at $2.
At $2. Yeah. Even if you could use the same XRP, a lot of times per day. The other piece that I think a lot of people really haven't figured out yet is the collateral component. And that's going to be a designation given by the BIS here in Q2. They're giving 4 different designations. Bitcoin, ETH, Solana, and XRP are all going to get designations from the BIS, which is the Bank of International Settlements. They are the authority for all the banks globally on what collateral looks like on their balance sheet. And then I know that there's some larger players moving into custody and some other stuff in Q3 of this year for XRP. If we are given a tier 1 designation by the BIS for XRP, which is riskless, it's the same as US Treasuries or gold, it becomes very favorable to hold this asset. The interest rates against it, to be able to borrow against it or put it to work and earn returns, basically very similar to US Treasuries in their risk profile. And every institution in the world will want to hold it on their balance sheet and use it. And you've already seen Ripple position themselves for this with G Treasury and Ripple Prime to, I don't want to say front run, but set things up in a way where other institutions can start leveraging the same infrastructure. And I do think that that's going to be very profitable for them on the other side of appreciation for XRP.